So with two great shows hitting the airwaves within a week of each other, Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, I want to talk about the ratings. But first, there's something even more important. It looks like Rings of Power is getting review bombed. Can you guess why? Yep, good old-fashioned racism. That's right. Rings of Power took off to a huge start, getting 25 million global viewers. Amazon Prime is the one boasting that. You can't really believe what Amazon Prime has to say because, obviously they're going to boast of their own product. But House of the Dragon numbers are more ironclad with statistics from third-party sources that are reputable. So what are the numbers? Amazon Prime said within the first 24 hours of episode 1 airing that they got 25 million global viewers. That's the whole world. Now with House of the Dragon, 10 million viewers in the first 24 hours, and that's in the United States of America. And those are certified. So if we're talking about 25 million globally versus 10 million domestically, how many views do you think House of the Dragon got worldwide globally? 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million? We don't know. If I'm going to guess, I'm going to assume that House of the Dragon performed better than Rings of Power. If it already got almost half of what Rings of Power got in one country, I'm pretty sure, and it's safe to assume that House of the Dragon got more views than 25 million worldwide. But that's just me. You could believe it or not. But that's neither here nor there. Both of these shows are successful. Shout out to both of them. There's something that jumped out to me as I was reading the article. There's an underlying notion of review bombing that's taking place on the Rings of Power side. And then I had to go and look at what BuzzFeed is saying. Obviously, they said, as reported by Prime Video, they got 25 million viewers, making it the biggest premier streaming platform's history of Amazon, right? Which is great. Thousands of people flocked. It was great. While critics have generally been positive about the series' first 2 episodes, highlighting the cinematography, cast performances, and more, the consensus of Tolkien's fans has been a mixed bag, to say the very least. All right, I'm thinking like, okay, well, if you have a mixed bag, that means maybe some people ain't really feeling it. Is Tolkien effing up? Are the directors and the writers effing up with some of the narrative and the stories that they're telling about this fantasy land? Nope. We're going to bring it back to good old-fashioned racism, ladies and gentlemen. They think that there's too many people of color in this show. So they decided to review bomb it. Let's look on. Rotten Tomatoes, The Rings of Power currently has 84% from critics, but only 39% from the audience, as you can see there. Why could that be? Unlike the film adaptations of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings of Power, which is set during the Second Age of Middle-earth, isn't based on any specific set of books. Instead, it's inspired by the broad mythology created by Tolkien, which gave the creative team behind the series the ability to introduce several original and diverse new characters. Look at that black face. Oh my goodness. They don't like that. How dare you put people of color in this fantasy land that doesn't have races? How dare you, in my fantasy land with elves, how dare you make a black elf? The racist side of this fandom are mad that there's black people in the show, and Asians, and Hispanics, Latinos, that they review bombed it because they want their stuff to be wide. This is why I get sick of pop culture. And there's a really toxic side to the pop culture fandom. Instantly when I saw this, I'm thinking to myself like, no way. Y'all are really tripping off of some fantasy and you guys review bombed it like a collective? This reminds me of Zack Snyder's toxic fandom fan base. And I was like, would they do this? Probably. But then I thought to myself, so they're upset that there are people of color in here, right? That there's black people, right? They're upset that we're looking at a black guy and Asians and probably Hispanics all in this show, right? They're mad at that. So what do I naturally do? Well, I go to the number one racist of YouTube in pop culture that I know, Ryan Cannell's YouTube channel. Because we know he mocked George Floyd's death, liked him to a bear and a Jebediah Springfield and a dead bear. I invite you guys to go look up that racist trash. But Ryan Cannell, known racist, who belongs to Geeks and Gamers. I said, let me go check his channel out and see if he's doing content. Oh my God. Sure enough, like clockwork, Amazon wants to silence its fans. Woke mob goes after She-Hulk. Can't let it fail. They can't let it fail. They're talking about, oh my, Elon Musk destroys Rings of Power. They just got wrecked by House of the Dragon. I tell you, you ain't got to be Dick Tracy to come up with this shit. Surely enough, somebody that I know is a known racist on YouTube who belongs to Geeks and Gamers, I said, let me check his channel just to see, because I know he racist. So let me see if he's mad at this show because there's too many blacks in it. And sure enough, I see the narrative speaks for itself. He's trashing Rings of Power. Too many black faces. Too many black faces. Not a coincidence. And I said, yep, I understand who's review bombing it. Now I know who and what type of community would review bomb Rings of Power because there's too many people of color in it. Like clockwork. When this was shown, Rings of Power trailer, certain groups within the fandom targeted both the show's creators and the actors with racist backlash, accusing them of being woke and disrespecting the source material. Look at this. How dare they got a black person in here? You're disrespecting the source material. You're woke because you put black people in this show. This fantasy show that got Keebler elves, gnomes and trolls and dragons and warlocks all in it. How dare you put a black person? You could be green, blue, pink, yellow, but not black. This is sickening, and this is why I hate pop culture on YouTube. This is one of the things that I hate about pop culture, because there's a fandom, a toxic one, that does stuff like this, promotes and spews hate and division. Why can't you just hold the show on the merit of if its content is good? Those of you guys who are wondering, what does review bombing mean? Review bombing is not just leaving negative comments. It's leaving negative comments and review bombing a film because you don't care about the cast. There's political ties to it, racism, stuff like that. And we know when it comes to that side over there, anything that has colored faces is woke. Everything's woke. Rough. Woke. Everything's not woke. Sure, some stuff in Hollywood is woke, for sure. But y'all are like a broken record over there. It's mind-numbing. It hurts my ears. I'm tired of it. Y'all made the word woke, which used to be a good term. It used to be enlightening to be woke. Yo, when you're woke, yeah, that means you're hip to the game. You know what time it is. But these nerds and dweebs turned a positive word, being woke, staying awake, into something that's SJW filled. Oh, you're pandering and you're this and you're a democratic idiot. They politicize it. It just makes me sick to my stomach. I can't. It's just disgusting. I'm tired of it. And then you add the racism element to it. It's crazy. Sadly, it looks like backlash from racist trolls had progressed into review bombing when people intentionally flood negative reviews for a show or film. The Rings of Power, which explains the massive disparity between critic and audience reviews. Now let's get to what the Hollywood Reporter defines as review bombing. Here it is here. Review bombing is when a group of online users post numerous negative reviews for a product or service due to its perceived cultural or political issues rather than its actual quality. Pursuing Rotten Tomatoes audience reviews for Rings of Power, there are some one-star entries that meet the definition. Here's an entry right here. They wanted to involve such an important work with current politics, and they have succeeded. Reads an example. Another one. Nobody has a problem with seeing people of color in movies, series, or stories. But this story was already written and should not have been sullied. Holy shoot. A story is sullied? I didn't know that you're sullying stories by adding black people to it. See the racism in that comment? And they're oblivious to it. You sullied this story because you added people of color. So because you add diversity to something, because you add a black elf, which is entirely possible to be, makes a lot of sense. It's sullying the story. Purebred racists, my guy. My goodness. Reflecting world diversity in Middle Earth is an odd goal, albeit good for marketing, maybe, but it was clearly more important than making a functional TV series. These are the type of things that they get. This is why we can't have nothing. They spent $465 million on the first season, and all you motherfuckers could do is think it's woke, and you're calling it make it political, and you're calling it woke, and throw your racism on top of it. That's why I don't cover as much pop culture as I used to, because y'all are some straight weirdos, bro. At the end of the day, y'all are some racist, bigoted, snot-nosed, dweeby weirdos who are ruining it for people who are actual fans of this. You won't even let people give it a chance. You're ruining it for people. These toxic fandoms gotta go, bro. Review something based on the quality and the merit of the contents of the actual show, not the skin color of the actors who are playing the characters. Judge the character, not the actor. But for a lot of you guys, especially someone like Ryan Cannell, outward racist, that's impossible to do. Subscribe to the channel for that real content. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'm Jody Joe, and I'm out this thing. Deuces.